I'm spending a lot of time finding the next person I want to get tattooed by, or, looking at different places that, different parts of the US I might want to go. And then I start looking at artists that I'd want to get tattooed by. And so I'm kind of a collage, and I don't think I could ever pick a favorite.
Where did you learn art?
Well, I've been drawing since I can remember.
Yeah.
Tiny child. I never actually went to art school like in college. I took private lessons from different artists in the area when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually studied art history as a minor when I was in college, but I don't have any real formal training. It's just been sort of an eclectic. I'm just gathered things as I've gone through life, getting, advice from one person, or taking a class from this person, or taking a class on this at the community college for, just for fun.
Yeah.
So.
Did you read comic books growing up? Like, what kind of art inspired you?
I didn't read comic books as much as I was big into books as a kid. And so illustration has always been, kids books and illustrated like diagram, like science books and informational books and that kind of thing. I've always loved that. But yeah, I was very interested in art history from a very young age. My mom used to go get me all the VHSs from the library about Monet and Degas and Picasso and all these people. And so I think their techniques inspired me. I knew what kind of art, I was drawn to, but I liked seeing how they made art. So yeah, books and learning and just being curious and wanting to know, well, how did they do that? Like, I can see and admire their art, but I really want to know how they did it. Like, I want to watch somebody do this. So that's always been my curiosity point, I think.
I remember using coloring books growing up.
Yeah.
Did you always stay in the lines? Were you really good at
Did I stay in the lines? I actually have memories of my grandfather encouraging me to stay in the lines on some coloring books that we had, which was my goal. Yeah, I wasn't immediately great at it. But yeah, I liked coloring books, but I think as a kid, I wanted to draw the picture. So the coloring book, the picture was already done. You just had to color it in.
Yeah.
And from a young age, I always wanted to draw the picture. Like, I wanted it to be a picture of what I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted to draw my cat or my dog or whatever, and then fill it in. So I think the coloring page, I feel like coloring books for me were kind of like only half the project, I was like, no, I want to do the whole thing. So.
Did you join contests in art schools like growing up?
Yeah, I was in 4-H.
Yeah.
I was big in 4-H, like 8 years of 4-H growing up.
Yeah.
And I did at the county fair, I always put art in. Always. I was like, my friends were doing cattle projects and archery, and I was like, I just want to enter this painting that I did. So yeah, I did. We have where I grew up.
In
Washington, on the Olympic Peninsula. It's still going on. It's still a thing that happens. We have a thing called the Wandafuka Festival, and it's like a big arts festival, and so that was always sort of a fun, artsy, participating in that kind of thing. It was the peninsula's got a pretty good art scene, so I was always kind of trying to enter into those kind of things and see what was going on and do little contests. But 4-H County Fair was where it was at.
So did you focus on art? Did you also do music as well?
I did music a little bit growing up. I was in band. I played the piano. I took guitar lessons. And I'm not a terrible musician, but I'm also not a passionate one. I'm just not. I don't have that natural drive to practice and to participate like some people do.
Yeah.
I don't get the same kind of, I think it's for me, I don't get the same kind of reward factor out of it. So I was never anything special musically. It was just, something fun. I think helps, I think all kids could benefit from music. It helps your brain grow and all that stuff. But
definitely.
Yeah. But I'm not a great musician in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it always saddens me to hear when a school is cutting the music or art program. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Kids are very interested in that.
Yeah. I think it's also, those things are so good for their overall health, even if they're not meant to be visual or musical artists. It's just so good to make well-rounded people. Like, math and grammar are great, but you need you need enough to make you a functional person who's going to enjoy their life and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's sad.
Definitely. I saw that you were celebrating St. Patrick's Day on your Instagram stories. Where were you at? What were you drinking?
Okay, so it was really fun. My family is really Irish. And actually, last time I was home visiting my family, my grandmother made me like St. Patrick's Day, like corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah.
And like I took it, like we froze it and I like brought it home. So I had it for St. Patrick's Day. Like I'm really into it. We were at Victoria Bar, my boyfriend and I, which neither of us are vegan, but I have eaten their vegan food and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But my favorite drink in the world is a whiskey sour, and they make them. I think it's fantastic. Like I'm not a super alcohol snob, but I think their whiskey sour is awesome. It's got the egg white in it. It's all foamy and all that good stuff. And then they had for St. Patrick's Day, they had a special like boozy slushy that was like creme de menthe and creme de cacao. It was basically like mint chocolate chip ice cream with booze in it. So and it was very green. So I felt very festive.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Have you ever been to Portland Winterhawks game?
I have not.
Portland Timbers?
I haven't been to any sports games here since I've lived here. It's almost 3 years. I feel like I'm kind of blowing it a little bit on that one. I haven't been. I think it'd be really fun.
In Washington, did you?
The only sports games, I went to a Mariners game when I was a kid. And then, we'd always watch, like my friends and stuff would always watch the Super Bowl. And recently the Seahawks have been in a couple times and that was cool. But most of the live sports that I've ever seen were like in high school where I like knew somebody on the team who was playing and I'd go cheer for them and stuff. But I've not, I really want to see the Thorns play. That's something that I'd really like to do. Like, I think that's pretty cool. So that's on the bucket list for living in Portland.
And also on your Ladywolly Instagram, this band, Freak Fingers Band.
Yeah.
They played a song about you?
They played a song for me. Yeah. So they wrote this song. So my friends Anjay and Joan live in Austin, Texas. And Joan came and got a tattoo for me last year when she was visiting. And then I went down and did a guest spot in Texas and got to tattoo both of them. And they have a band. And we swapped t-shirts. I made merchandise t-shirts and I sent them some and they sent me their band t-shirt. And then they're having me do having me do the design for their next round of merchandise, which is based off the tattoo I did for them. So it's going to be a whole theme and they're just really good friends of mine and they're super cool people. Like it does not get cooler than those two. And so they did this new song and played it on IGTV and they're like, we just want to dedicate this to Molly. And I was like, I'm going to cry. It was so sweet. Yeah, that was really nice.
And also, right after that, this next story, Steven Tyler, which I was amazed by.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
He was impressed by your tattoo, one of your designs.
Yeah, apparently. So my client Erica, we just finished her tattoo the beginning of last week. That was another one. That was one that was 2 sessions because it took quite a while. It's like a whole upper, like a half sleeve thing. Yeah. Of roses, of black and gray roses. And she tagged me this morning. I was lying there getting my face steamed at the esthetician. And I pop onto my Instagram and I look in there and there's a tagged photo and it's a picture of her with a t-shirt on and her tattoo sticking out the bottom. And she's just eating fries in the airport. Yeah. And the story is I think she's in Salt Lake City. I could be wrong, but I want to say it was the Salt Lake City airport. Yeah. And she said she was just standing there eating. And Steven Tyler came up to her and said, "Nice ink," and then just walked away. And so she said she posted, she tagged him and tagged me and she was like, "Thanks for the ink because apparently he likes it." And my brain just exploded. I was so excited. I texted a bunch of people. I'm like, "You have to go look at this right now. It's Steven Tyler. Oh my gosh." So yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah. I love so many of his Aerosmith songs.
Oh my gosh. My dad, my dad raised me on 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s rock. And so, and I love Aerosmith. I did my best friend and I used to play the version of Guitar Hero that was just Aerosmith songs. And we could like do that for hours and hours. It was so good. So that happened. I don't think my brain has still caught up to how cool that is. I'm so honored.
Yeah. What's your favorite Aerosmith album?
Toys in the Attic.
That's what I was thinking you were gonna say. What's the second favorite?
Oh, I don't know if I could pick one after that. I think I'd have to have like the best of, or like they have like those 20th century hit like collections or stuff, because I like the span of their career. I don't think I could pick like one album in one pocket of time. It's just so.
First album I heard was Get a Grip, so
yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, whatever you're introduced to first, whatever you have the strongest memory
yeah
to. Yeah,
I feel that way with food. That's why, like in New York, I like their Chinese food, their pizza, their sandwiches.
Yeah. I think, sorry, Portland, but I grew up in Washington. I think Seattle has better Indian food.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm comparing every time I eat Indian food here in Portland. Yeah. I compare it to what I'm used to in the Seattle area. So yeah.
And bagels can't really stand a candle to the New York bagel.
No, I'm sure not. No.
Have you ever tried it?
It was a long time ago. I was in New York when I was 16, so I can't.
That's awesome.
I can't remember. I do remember their pizza was fantastic, though.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no comparison. Yeah, it was so good. But
I feel sorry for anyone that hasn't tried it when they're in New York. The pizza, it's so good.
Yeah, there are things you have to have, like pizza and the New York cheesecake and that kind of thing. Like they're just, and I'm, when I go somewhere, I'm gonna eat everything. So,
what do you feel like that is for Portland? Like that you must have?
Oh, see, I feel like Portland is a donut city.
Yeah.
And voodoo is great. And like people who have never had voodoo, I think they need to go have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think voodoo is like something that you need to try for the fun of voodoo donuts. Like that's you go to the thing, you get the pink box, you have one of those weird cereal flavors.
Toppings.
Yeah, exactly. You have the weird stuff. Names, yeah, exactly.
Sexualized.
Yeah, things that you feel embarrassed asking for.
Exactly.
I love that. See, that's great. But I think the best donuts are like, it's all dependent on what you like. Like if you want like fancy flavors, Blue Star is awesome.
Okay.
If you want like the little like county fair style donuts, like Pips is where it's at. Like that's.
I haven't tried that one.
You haven't had Pips?
No.
Oh my gosh. The guy who owns Pips lives in my neighborhood, so I also feel like kind of like a community connection. But yeah, and I even like Heavenly Donuts. They're open like 24 hours a day. Like at 2 a.m, one of their maple bars is awesome. Like, yeah, I feel like Portland is donuts and beer. So people are like, what do you eat in Portland? I'm like, well, have a donut. Like, go live it up. If you haven't done voodoo before, do it. Like, go have that experience. Yeah, totally. Side
note, have you ever had Dunkin' Donuts? More of an East Coast chain, but
Yes, I have had. I like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I also like Tim Hortons in Canada. Like I'm not a snob. Yeah. I'll eat whatever donuts are available. So yeah. When I'm over when I've been over and not that I spend out, like when I'm over on the East Coast, I'm not there very often. But when I have been there, Dunkin' Donuts is good too.
So you were in Canada?
Yeah, I've been to Canada several times.
When were you there? What was going
on? Well, I've been several times. My parents live within walking distance of the ferry terminal that goes across to Victoria.
Yeah.
So I've been to Victoria several times. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. It's so nice and walkable. And if you haven't gone, totally.
Do you think it's common if you live in Washington to at least check out Canada?
Fairly common, yeah. You can either go with a passport or you can just get an enhanced driver's license and go across.
Need one.
Yeah, you don't need
the Washington thing. Is that it?
No, well,
enhanced driver's license. Hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, maybe it is a Washington thing, but I don't think it's very difficult. I'm sure Oregonians could get it too, but because Canada, we share such a close border. But so I know a lot of people who live in Washington who've been to Canada. I lived in Bellingham when I was going to college, and it's not a very long drive to Vancouver.
Yeah.
So lots of people would go up there for concerts and stuff.
What did you go up there for again?
To Vancouver?
Yeah, what did you do there, activity wise?
Fun and stuff? Well, I ate
Yeah.
because as we established, that's what I do. And then I was up there with my partner Ryan, and we went to, actually one of the best things we did was we went to the Vancouver Aquarium, which is super fun. Totally recommend it.
Nice.
If you like animals, you like reptiles or fish or like sea mammals, if you want to see a cool sea lion show, like that's so fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful aquarium. Yeah, and so we just like kind of hung out and walked around the neighborhoods and ate, and because I lived right by there for so long and I've never been, so I was like, I need to go to Vancouver. I need to try it.
Definitely. No hockey games?
No, I didn't see a hockey game while I was there. I do like hockey though.
Yeah.
So
what's your favorite hockey team?
Well, I can't even say I have a favorite team. I watch non-partially.
Yeah.
Like I actually grew up when I was a kid. We lived so close to Canada that's the TV that we had. Like most of the stations that came in were Canadian.
Okay.
And so we just watched whatever hockey was on. Like Hockey Night in Canada was a thing. I used to have a T-shirt that said Hockey Night in Canada, but I never like got partial. I was just like, I don't know. It's just such a spectator sport for me to just sit there and like try and figure out strategy or what the teams are doing and all that stuff. Like that's, to me, that's what sports, sports are almost psychological to me because I'm not competitive in that way. So watching stuff like that is just like, oh, and so what are they trying to get at here? And like, what's their objective? And what's that team going to do now that this person is, yeah. So I don't get in and like cheer for a team, which is kind of sad. I'm sure I could, get more involved that way, but no, I kind of watch and see what people do. It's interesting to me. Sports are interesting. I'm so not sporty that sports are just something for me to enjoy.
Living in Washington, did you feel that the further north you traveled, the more people had a Canadian accent? Or is that...
Yeah, it's really strange. I think most Washingtonians are so aware of the Canadian accent and they like don't want to be mistaken as someone from Canada if that's not accurate.
Yeah.
That it's like you have to go over the border before you'll notice it because people in Washington are like, no, we are Washingtonians. And then, but you go up to Canada and you notice it immediately when you get up there. Yeah. Vancouver Island, totally can hear the Canadian accent.
What made you want to move to Oregon?
I actually came down here to learn how to tattoo. I knew about, so Oregon is the only state that has tattoo schools that are like overseen by the government. In other states, schools are kind of can be pretty shifty because there are no checks and balances on those.
Our requirements are much lower elsewhere. Yeah,
and some of it's just made, like the state doesn't require it, so these schools just make up. They can take your money and then not teach you anything.
Shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a guarantee that that's going to happen, but there's no way to check for that really. But Oregon, it's all overseen by the state. And there's, they have to check your curriculum and there's certain hour requirements and procedure requirements and all this stuff. So I didn't see myself as the type of person who was going to be able to get an apprenticeship like in Seattle. I just didn't see that happening. Yeah. And so when I decided I wanted to learn how to tattoo, I thought, okay, well, I guess Oregon's the place. This is the place I can go to school for this. And Portland, I always kind of wanted to live in Portland. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to do it. Went down, paid my tuition, did my interview, and then moved down with what would fit in my car. I had a friend to stay with for a month, and then I had to find another place to live. And I was like, guess I'm doing the tattoo school thing. And it was just giant, like kind of leap of faith. But yeah, I just moved down here for that reason alone.
Nice. Also saw on one of your Instagram stories you were at a burger place. Where were you?
Recently?
It said Smurf Burger or something? SM Burger?
I don't even remember what that was, but like that doesn't surprise me.
Erica Lainers?
Oh, that's the picture of that's the client who got talked to by Steven Tyler. That's her eating her fries. Nice. That's apparently where that happened. Yeah. That's like the moment in time. The cool thing happened. No, I didn't eat that burger. I think actually I just was telling somebody those fries look super freaking good. Yeah. Like I would have if I were there.
Have you had the truffle fries at Little Big Burger?
No, I
No.
have at the Radio Room. Radio Room has truffle fries, but I haven't had them. I've never eaten at Little Big Burger. Where have I been, man?
Brunch Box?
No.
Grilled cheeseburger.
Oh
That's
my
the best.
gosh. Okay.
It's like a $14 burger, but there's grilled cheese on each side of the burger.
Yeah,
and there's
I'll
like
pay
2 burgers in there.
I'll cough it
One
up.
of it's called I Can Has Cheeseburger. And like
Oh my
goofy
gosh.
names. Yeah.
That's memories. That's high school for me. Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet. Yeah. Okay. Well, just write me a list and I'll just go eat all those places
Yeah.
because.
What's like your favorite burger place so far?
Oh, my favorite burger place.
Or chicken or Thai?
Oh, Thai.
That's
I
what
eat
people love. around
all the
Portland.
Thai. Yeah, I feel like Portland, if after donuts, Thai is like the thing.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna give all the PR to all the food places because I love them. The Thai Garden food cart on Stark and 102nd
Yeah.
is my go-to. Like if I want fast food, like Thai cart food that's really, really good, that's where I go. Actually, one of my favorite Thai places, Thai Seasons on Sandy is great. And then actually the Siam Grill, which is on like Halsey and 103rd,
Yeah.
I think. It's like in this weird little strip mall. It looks like nothing from the outside. It's this tiny, oh my gosh, their food is so good. Yeah, so those are my, like, depending on which, I live in Northeast, so depending on which part of South Northeast I'm in, those are the 3. It's like my triangle of Thai food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Burger places, I'm less picky.
Mm.
I'll just eat a burger if I eat lots of different types. I'm not even like, I don't even hate on fast food. Like sometimes I'll just have Burger King and that's fine by me.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You work at Saint and Sinners Tattoo?
Yep.
And you did a skull tattoo recently for the first
Yes.
time.
Yeah, on somebody's head. I did.
Pretty sweet. How
That's
was that?
That was great. That's my coworker, Gray.
Yeah.
So if that had not turned out well, it would have been a reminder to me.
Yeah.
I would have had to look at it. But no, yeah, so my coworker, he's Gray Skull on Instagram.
Yeah.
He does like super cool, more American traditional style tattoos. But he's very tattooed. Like he's got side of his neck done. He's got all the way down his arms. He's got like one full leg tattooed. He's a very tattooed guy. He's like, I want to get my head tattooed.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. He's like, you want to tattoo my head? I want a raven on the side of my head. You want to do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. Awesome. Sounds like a great experiment.
Yeah.
So, and actually it turns out, because the skin on your scalp is so tight,
Yeah.
it's actually really easy to tattoo because
Oh.
normally you'd have to stretch skin really hard. Most of the time you have to stretch skin really tight to get it to do what you want it to do.
Do you not go as deep?
Yeah, you would probably, it's not, you don't have to apply as much hand pressure.
Yeah.
It's really pretty simple. So, but it hurts.
Got to imagine.
It
Was
hurts.
it on painkillers or something?
No, we had some numbing cream that we put on
Okay.
beforehand. So it'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, let's try and take the edge off of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said, I got behind his ear, like right up on that bone right behind his ear. He's like,
Yeah.
that feels like wet fire. I was like, okay, well, oh, sorry, dude.
Has anyone ever came in wanting tattoos on their genitals?
Not to me.
Yeah.
My boss, he doesn't like when I call him my boss. The owner of the shop, he tells me like we're all equals, Molly. We're all independent contractors. I'm like, yeah, but I don't pay the rent on the building, do I? So he has tattooed genitals before, but most of us in the shop haven't. That's not something you usually get like a walk-in where people are like, hey,
Yeah.
like, tattoo my junk. So
Is it like a specialized thing, you think? Like some tattoo artists do it more than others? Because they're more experienced at it? Or
yeah, I think it's more about who has the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
I just recently saw a tattoo. It was a beautiful tattoo on Instagram, but it was on a woman and it was her entire middle of her butt, like into her crack, was
Wow.
completely blacked out, like
Yeah.
solid black. And I cannot imagine. But yeah, I think with an experienced tattooer who has who doesn't have any weird issues with that kind of thing, who doesn't
Mhm.
like freak out about bodies.
Yeah.
I think most experienced tattooers who felt comfortable tattooing that kind of skin would be, it's not a big deal. Like I think most people would be, you just have to be able to go at it like you know what you're doing. but it's not a real common genre of tattooing. I don't think there's a lot of demand for that. So
yeah, I think on my 11th episode, I had someone on that was into skull art, and I saw you also posted a skull.
yeah.
And so, do you think it's common maybe that people are into that around here?
I think Portlanders like their pretty bones. Yeah. It was funny because growing up, people always thought I was a little bit creepy. Like, they didn't ridicule me for it, but I think people just kind of raised their eyebrows like, okay, whatever, Molly. Because I liked skulls and bones and dead things and taxidermy and like creepy stuff. And then I got to Portland. I'm like, oh, like lots of people here like this. It's like there's like this little pocket of, I feel like the tattoo industry, we love our skulls and flowers. We just, that's just like a great hard and soft, creepy and pretty kind of contrast thing. And yeah, in Portland, Pacific Northwest and Portland specifically, we like our bones here.
Had you ever thought about working at a funeral home or anything like that?
I did, actually. I had, it was really funny. My youth group in high school, one of the gals who had graduated from high school like 5 or 6 years before me was a mortuary technician, and she would come and talk to the youth group sometimes and like visit with us and talk about her job. And I always thought, that might be kind of cool. Like, dead things don't frighten me, but I think dealing with dead human beings emotionally, it would be too hard. I would not be able to like talk to families who are still mourning their loved ones and be professional about it. I just cry all the time. So
when I was younger, I think I was offered an interview or maybe even a job, probably just an interview, but I chickened out and never even drove.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah. If you think about it and you're like, I don't think this is, if you have like that gut feeling of like, it's probably good. You probably follow that.
Yeah. Also see that you're into Victorian florography books.
Oh my gosh.
What is that? Explain to the audience, please.
So florography is the concept or practice of using flowers to send messages. We don't have any definitive proof really historically how much that was utilized, how much people actually put it into practice in the Victorian era, but there are loads of books about it. And so the books are like dictionaries of what flower means what, and then you could, compose a message based on these flowers meaning different things and send it to somebody. Because in the Victorian era, basically, you couldn't say anything with your mouth, but you could say things, very scandalous things other ways. In the Georgian era, they had their fans that they would like flirt with. And in the Victorian era, you couldn't come out and say, hey, I think you're really hot. We should go out. Because that was just unmannerly and you couldn't do that. So you would just make a bouquet to say it.
Yeah.
So I collect books that are basically floral dictionaries. And a lot of them have like poetry about the flower, about the sentiment or what it means. But I love the idea of flowers as language. I love the idea of flowers as having sort of inherent meaning, and being able to sort of read them and appreciate them saying something. So I collect books from that era. I have a fairly large collection of books that are dealing with that subject from all the way from like, I think the earliest one I have is like 1838, maybe 1840. Yeah. And then they went all the way up through very early turn of the last century, like 1900, 1905 kind of thing. So
of the percentage of tattoos you've done, how much do you think were roses?
Were roses.
Or just plant life in general?
Plant life is probably like...
Yeah, 33% at least, right?
Oh my gosh, it's got to be more than that. I think...
50, over 50?
Yeah. I'm going to say 60 to 70% of the tattoos I do include some sort of flowers or plant life.
Mm-hmm.
Roses specifically, I'm going to say like almost 10% of the tattoos I do have a rose or a peony. Peonies is really what's in.
It's because Portland's the city of the rose. I mean,
yeah, that plays into it a lot of time. I think, and roses are classic. You think about tattoos.
Are the tattoos, like, how are they different in Washington compared to over here? Like, what do you generally see in Washington that you wouldn't see here?
the Space Needle.
People have that on their arm.
Yeah, like people get the space Mount Rainier. Here, people
Yeah.
get tattoos of Mount Hood. In
Yeah.
Washington, they get tattoos of Mount Rainier.
Okay.
What else?
Cool to have one on each arm.
Yeah, right. It would, or to have the two together somehow.
Yeah,
I think
that would be great.
lots of people here get ocean-related tattoos because we're pretty close to the coast. I think it's even more so in like Seattle because it's right on the Puget Sound.
Okay.
So I think people get more like fish, aquatic, oceany, Pacific Northwest kind of stuff.
And every once in a while, someone gets like an animal.
Yeah. I love animal tattoos. I think animals are great. Like when I was a kid for a while, I wanted to be a zoo veterinarian, but yeah. And then I realized as I got older that I just really wanted to draw all the animals. So yeah, animal tattoos are super fun.
Do any foot tattoos this year?
Any tattoos on feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a couple. I just did one on like an ankle. That kind of goes onto a foot. It's a butterfly.
Okay.
Butterfly and plants.
So it's usually like right before the toes when they do it? Or?
Yeah, lots of people get it like right on the top of their foot, which is a nice smooth spot, which also hurts. I have that part of my body tattooed. It really hurts, but it's really cool looking. So no regrets.
What is the most painful part of the body to tattoo, do you think?
That's up for debate.
Yeah.
So
depending on the person?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just so everybody knows, for the record, I personally believe that those tattoo pain charts, you see like this area is in green, it doesn't hurt that bad. This area is in red, it's like hell on earth.
Yeah.
I don't think those are accurate because everybody has a different opinion. Like for me, anything that gets close to my armpit, like I have 2 tattoos that kind of encroach on my armpit, and oh my gosh, that was the worst. Like it was so painful it made me want to vomit a couple times. But I have had other people say that I don't have behind my knee tattooed, like the back of like my knee ditch.
Yeah.
But I know 2 people I work with have that done, and they said that was absolutely the worst.
The knee.
Yeah. Gray might say his head was pretty bad. Like right behind his ear apparently was pretty tough. So
I don't know. I mean, there's one spot you imagine would be the worst, but
yeah,
who really tests that out? Not many people.
No. Yeah, you'd think that like the genitals would probably hurt the worst, but like most people can't speak from experience. So
yeah, exactly.
There's something else I was going to say about the most painful spots that people. Oh, something I've noticed is it also tends to be kind of a biological issue as far as like your biological sex. So people who are female or born with female genitalia tend to not have a problem with the shin or the calf. Like that tends to not be a problem for my female clients.
Yeah.
But male clients seem to have a really hard time with that. Like it hurts them more. Like for some reason, my male clients have a really hard time with the shin area, and not even my clients, like friends of mine, like guy friends who are like, yeah, the shin was the worst. And it's so funny because it doesn't, like when I have one that goes up onto my shin and I thought that was super easy. So yeah, it's very, very objective.
Do you do any other kinds of art?
Sorry, subjective. Yes. I do. I don't have as much time to do that anymore, but I do I've done realism in colored pencil before. I used to paint a lot in acrylic. I've crocheted. I go through phases of crocheting. I just like to draw, just
you
doodle.
Ever put paintings up on Instagram or anything?
I haven't in a long time. I should.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to paint. I like to paint in acrylic. I really like to paint on wood. I like wood better than canvas. I think it's a little smoother. But yeah, I mean, I don't have as much time to do those things because I'm usually prepping for the next tattoo that I'm doing. But
how many hours a week are you working?
Well, I work 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually in the shop from about 12:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
And then at home, I probably spend another hour or 2 every night drawing. So what does that make? 16, 24, 30, 40 hours a week for a normal week, and then add, another 6 to 8 hours on top of that. So it's getting close to 50.
And do you know Mama Tama on Instagram?
I don't, but I saw that you interviewed her.
Yeah.
I listened. I only had a couple minutes to listen to it. But...
Yeah, I saw she liked one of your posts, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love, like I think the tattoo scene is so like dense here.
Yeah.
We have so many artists, and clients are really spoiled for choice as far as what they want to get. Like,
I was just talking to somebody today, and they were like, "I got my tattoo in Roseburg. They're good over there, just a bit cheaper."
Yeah, sometimes the market is a little different, but I love working with and meeting other tattooers from around here. Like, I feel like that scarcity mindset, like there's not enough clients for everybody, is just total baloney. That's not true. And so when we can sort of foster that sense of community with other tattooers. I have friends who I went to school with for tattoos who now work at all shops all over the city. And it's great. I love it. People come in and I'm like, oh, I know her. Like, they have other tattoos. I'm like, oh, that's my friend so-and-so. Like, you have one from them too. And, I love them. And I just think it's really cool. Like, just to have that sort of, we're a community. We're all trying to make good art. We're all trying to elevate the industry. And I think it's really cool when we can be pals.
Did you ever go on tour or to those tattoo conventions?
No, I've never done a convention yet. I'm like still trying to get my courage up to do one of those. And not even to have like a booth or anything, just to go. I just want to go and do it. Like, one of these days I'm gonna go. We'll see.
Cool. What do you like to do after you're done tattooing? Like free time, recreation, most of the time. Stay home, go out.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I have Sundays and Mondays off, and usually I go to a church that has Sunday evening services, so I don't even have to get up on Sunday morning. Sundays I'm dead to the world. I'm just asleep for most of the day, and I'm just completely hibernate and recover from my week. And then any other free time, I just like to go around, run errands. I'm a big thrift shopper. I love to try new places to eat, as we've established. I eat all the things in Portland.
Been to Sauvie Island?
I look forward to going again this summer as the weather warms up.
What did you do there?
I just went swimming and hung out on the beach.
The regular beach?
Yeah.
Have to ask every guest.
Yeah, the nude beach doesn't freak me out. Like, it doesn't bother me.
You've seen it or whatever?
No, we just happened to end up on the part that's the clothed part of the beach. But like,
when's the last time you went to Sauvie?
Oh, not last summer before. But yeah, no, like, whatever. I'm cool. Whatever. I don't care. I just want to be on the beach and be in the water. Yeah. So I love swimming. So
sweet.
Yeah, be good.
Have you driven down the Oregon coast recently? The highway?
Not recent. Well, I went out to the coast like a couple weeks ago. My partner and I went and just hung out on the beach for a while, which is fun.
When did you meet him?
Oh, he and I go way, way back. We were actually friends in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
he lived here before you?
Yes. Cool. So we were friends in high school. We both went off to college, did other things. He ended up working. He was living in Vancouver, Washington, like Southwest Washington, when I moved to Portland, and we reconnected, and then got back together. So we've known each other for a long time, but we've only been dating like 2.5 years. So, but, yeah.
Where do you like to go to shop? Maybe like supermarket wise, Winco. Have you ever?
I love Winco. And see, I didn't grow up with Winco. Yeah. It's so funny because living in the city, and it's like I have all these options. Yeah, I love Winco. I'm pretty cheap, if I'm honest. Like, I'll go. I actually love the Asian grocery. I love Hung Fat. I love that place. Like, if I need good produce, and like, my favorite thing is you bring a head of lettuce home from Hung Fat and you wash it out and there's like dirt in it. I'm like, yeah, this is like real food. It feels good. It like reminds me of, being back home. But then when it comes to like pre-made food, like packaged salads and stuff, I'm such a Trader Joe's girl. I just love that. And I don't have, when I was growing up, we didn't have one of those either. So it still feels so special to go to Trader Joe's and be like, ooh, what do they have? So, but I'm not super partial.
What do you like to cook at home? Like, what's your fanciest dish? And then what's your easiest dish?
My easiest dish is heating up some spaghetti and some sauce out of the jar. And just having spaghetti because that's just straight up comfort food for me. Fanciest dish, I make this like really good chicken with, the marinade has like ground mustard and maple syrup and balsamic vinegar, and it's so good. Oh my gosh. But it does take a bit to make, so I don't make it very often because I'm like, most of the time I'm too tired. But when I do make that, I'm like, ooh, I can actually cook. Look at me being all fancy every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the span of my cooking right now.
So when you're at home, would you be more likely to read a book, watch a TV show, play a video game, or do something active?
When I'm at home, like if the weather's really great and I feel like I need to be outside, then I'm definitely going to be out walking or riding my bike or something. But most of the time when I'm at home, like in the evening, if I'm actually not working at all, I might be just doing something like playing a dumb game on my phone or something like that, where I can do something with my brain that's not something that I have to create. Like I'm not doing the artsy thing. It's something I can do that keeps me occupied, but lets my brain rest a little bit. But I watch a lot of TV shows while I'm working. So like if I'm drawing, they just put all of Frasier on Netflix. And so I'm like, ooh, I'm going to watch all of this while I draw. So I'll be drawing and have that on in the background because you can kind of tell what's going on without watching every second of it. Yeah. So
didn't they say they're bringing Frasier back?
I don't know. Because they have all those, like they did Full House again. Yeah. And, if they did, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I love Kelsey Grammer and I love like that whole dynamic. I feel like it's just so sweet and so funny. And I laughed till I almost cry watching that show.
I'm just glad that Breaking Bad's going to have that sequel movie.
Yeah. Were you a big Breaking Bad fan?
This is like my favorite show.
Nice.
The second to last episode, I still just remember it looked so gorgeous with the snow and everything.
Yeah. You're like, this is so beautiful.
I know. I was like, this is the best show. It's never going to be topped.
Yeah.
Then Better Call Saul came, which was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely some TV shows that are sort of artistic / storytelling masterpieces.
Yeah, Black Mirror mentioned like every episode.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. Yeah.
It's incredible. Like film, that's another thing. Sports and film are just like so above my head. Yeah. Like I just don't really understand how it works, and I'm just fascinated by it. Like
at this point, I think TV's eclipsed movies as far as being entertaining.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather watch a series than a movie. Yeah.
Most of the movies now are Marvel MCU stuff.
Totally. Which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But like if I'm gonna, if I really want to get into something for, a couple nights in a row, then series are definitely what we want to do.
Or you can just binge something if you have time.
Yep. Like Nailed It. That like the dumb stuff. I love that because it doesn't require very much mental capacity and I can work and do other things. But
exactly. Sometimes when I watch a show with too much action and I'm trying to do something on the computer, I'm like, what the hell is all this crazy background?
Yeah, exactly. You get distracted. You have to watch the thing. Yeah.
And you're like, I got to sit down and watch this now.
Totally.
Got to put something on dialogue driven. Yeah. Which isn't that hard, easy to find. I don't know. They should have a category like dialogue-driven shows.
Yeah,
that could be background TV. That'd be great.
Yeah, I feel like there are enough people who use it that way that they could totally advertise.
I think so, and I think what ends up happening, I ended up doing was just switching to podcasts.
Yeah,
I would put Joe Rogan on the video screen in the background or something.
Yeah, because you don't need to really watch that. You can just
listen. And it's so easy to just follow along to their dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm totally agree. There are certain TV shows that I will sit down and watch, and there's only a couple. And usually they're like period pieces, like period dramas and stuff, which I love, but they're very nuanced, and you have to sit and watch it or you'll miss half of it.
If you watch Walking Dead that way, it's like there's a lot of visual elements.
Yeah.
It's not going to ring true. You're not going to remember what happened or understand.
Totally. And I get so inspired by like a lot of TV, like what the period or the culture that they're talking about. Like I want to absorb the visual information so that I can incorporate that if I'm gonna be inspired to draw from that. You can't just listen to, like, it's like just listening to a Bollywood movie. You're missing a huge portion of like the visual beauty of something like that. So yeah.
If you're into animated stuff, you have to watch.
Yes. Oh yeah. You have to appreciate that art.
Yeah.
Somebody worked really hard on that. So.
Did you grow up watching anything animated that you liked?
Well, I mean, I watch Disney, you know, animated TV.
I am very glad to hear that Disney has decided to bring James Gunn back to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep. I'm cool with it. Yep. Didn't I hear that that Disney just bought out Fox Home Entertainment? Is that what happened?
Yeah, that worries me because Netflix shows are going down. 3 of them are gone already.
Yeah.
Punisher's left and Jessica Jones, but doesn't look good.
That's worrying. But it is very satisfying to me that the movie Anastasia, which was Fox Home Entertainment and was often confused with Disney, now she's a Disney princess because they bought out. And I was like, okay, cool. That's satisfying to me. The rest of it worries me. But animated stuff. I mean, I loved my Disney movies, and I loved a little bit here. Yeah, Pixar. Oh my gosh, Pixar. Who am I kidding? Loved is the wrong word. That's the past tense. Love
Moana.
In current tense is the.
Moana was great.
Moana was awesome.
That's the latest recent one that everyone says Frozen, which I think is overrated. But
Frozen's good. But did you see Zootopia?
No.
Okay, you have to watch Zootopia. It's so good. It's so good. I would, it's basically a sweet kids movie about the problems with systemized prejudice, and it's like really deep but really sweet. So, it's intense.
I think I tried to watch the one about the music and the Day of the Dead or something. But didn't get into that one.
Haven't gotten that. Yeah. So, which is the thing. Like, most of the time I don't have time to sit down and fully watch something when I'm drawing.
I still have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like it's been on my. I've had it for a while. I haven't watched it.
Everybody I've heard says it's awesome. Like my friends who are really into like comics and sci-fi and stuff like that are like, they swear that movie is the greatest. They're like, it's so good.
Nice. So, I grew up watching the X-Men animated series, which I loved. The theme song is one of my favorites.
Right. Yeah.
It's great.
Yep. It's good. It's classic.
My favorite character was Beast. My brother's was Nightcrawler. What was yours?
I never watched that show, actually.
What's your favorite Marvel character?
I told you we had Canadian TV, and I didn't get that. So
and you were like Logan. He's Canadian.
That's true. Not represented. My favorite Marvel character. I love Iron Man.
Nice.
Mostly, I really love Pepper Potts. I think she's the coolest. But Iron Man is the character that I love that, like, hard exterior, soft interior, kind of brainy, scientisty kind of stuff. I like that.
Will it be the same, the role after Robert Downey Jr. leaves it?
No.
I mean, are you gonna still like him as much, or just Robert Downey Jr.'s version? I
will still appreciate the character of Iron Man, and I will still appreciate the storyline. I will like that, but I get used to I'm used to Robert Downey Jr. and I don't want it to change. So that's just me being unflexible. But
there's this video game coming out, and one of the characters that was in the video game apparently got caught with cocaine charges in Japan or something.
Oh no.
So what's happening is that they're gonna like possibly not release it in the United States at all or something.
Oh, weird. And that seems such a weird thing to like go through all that effort and then not release it.
I know. It's like, and they're pulling the sales in Japan or something. Like they're not selling it in Japan right now, like till they evaluate the situation or something, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just thinking of the Robert Downey Jr. situation. I was like, imagine that they said that for You Can't Be Iron Man.
Yeah.
Imagine that the whole MCU basically took off with this guy who got into some trouble.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking how horrible it is.
Yeah, like
it's not fair.
And are we gonna make all the rappers stop producing music until they stop using cocaine?
Right.
Because like we won't have a rap industry. You're like, you really want to like go with that? Like that's
Americans perform over there all the time. It's like they look the other way, I guess, about that.
Yeah.
But when it's one of their own, they're like, oh, we can't allow this. You disrespected it's a different culture over there.
Totally.
I understand.
Which is fair.
But they need to change, I think, because the world is changing.
I don't know. I mean, I can't I understand not wanting to approve.
It's not fair to punish anyone else, though.
Yeah.
That's one guy. The amount of people that worked in that game is ridiculous.
Right. I understand them not wanting to approve of illicit drug use. I get that.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, there's a lot of people who worked on that project, and it's an
individual crime, not he didn't like commit tax fraud at the company or anything.
Right.
You know?
Right. He's doing something to his own body.
Yeah.
That's not really reflective.
I had no intention of getting this. I just went on Amazon and I pre-ordered it.
And you're like, well, apparently you can't now. So.
I was like, I'm going to make Japan be all pissed because the sales are going to be insane. They're like, man, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sell it to the United States now.
Yeah. Oh, sadly, the U.S. is pretty familiar. Like, we get it. We know about cocaine.
Yeah. Did you watch the Firefest documentary?
Oh, about Fire Festival. Yeah. No, I did not watch it.
Watch it.
I want to watch it, but I have to be in a certain mindset because I know I'm gonna be like.
That can be a background one. Like that was really good background one.
Okay.
If you have Netflix,
just draw and listen to the Fire Festival.
Totally. You just laughing. It'll inspire something funny, maybe.
Okay.
So good.
Do somebody wants to get a Firefest tattoo?
You might end up sitting down and watching it because it ends up being really good. You're like, oh man.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I'm
Firefest tattoo. Oh man.
Why not? You know, there are weirder things. People get weirder things tattooed.
I bet you there was tattoos going on there. There was like only 3 days though. But...
Probably people are like, I'm bored. Somebody want to stick and poke?
Yeah. I mean, what else can you do there? You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like, well, I'm gonna have some fun. Gonna make something out of it.
I didn't even know about it. Like, I guess I wasn't following the hashtags, but I remember I loved the documentary.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, people know about it now.
Yeah.
They didn't know about it. They didn't know what they were getting into then, but yeah. So, yeah, but Firefest tattoo, like, I don't know.
Hopefully the weather continues to be as gorgeous as it is. 70 almost the other day.
Yeah. People, it's actually pretty good for business for me and for our shop when the sun, I think people like the sun comes out and then people are like, oh, I'm going to like wear a t-shirt. Oh, I've been meaning to get that tattoo on my bare arm. Like, I think people become more aware of their tattoos when they like wear shorter sleeves and shorts and stuff. So spring and summer are the sunny times. People tend to want to come and get walk-ins and stuff. So
with the skull tattoo, how does hair affect that now? Like, does it sometimes grow out of his head? And you're like,
so he's gonna have to not shave his head for a week or two in order to let it.
You can't see the tattoo, and then you got to shave it to see it.
Yeah. But he shaves his head all the time. Like his normal look is to have a very short, like clipper, almost. I think he might actually shave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for most of the time, it'll be seen. It's just the couple weeks of growing.
When the hair starts to poke out, does that affect how the tattoo looks?
No, it's just gonna itch. It'll be irritating.
I think like the holes inside the skin dilate or whatever, right? But that doesn't affect the look of the tattoo or anything, or the heat or the cold when.
Nope. They're so small and so like, I mean.
What about when you take a hot shower and it goes right in your head and it gets all red? Like nothing.
It'd just be red.
Yeah, okay.
No, the hair follicles are so small you wouldn't notice the difference when they expand or contract. But no, because if you think about it, everywhere you get tattooed, you've got like most of the time you've got body hair and it doesn't do anything. So it's pretty much the same on your head.
Any tips for anyone wanting to come up in this industry?
In the tattoo industry?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do things the traditional way, so my advice might be different than somebody who's been tattooing for 10 or 20 years. So take that with a grain of salt. But I think if you want to tattoo and you're willing to work with people, because it's a very intimate career, you're going to be working very closely with people, and you are willing to be flexible and be able to be personable and work with clients and that sort of thing. If you're down for that and you are artistically inclined, I think there's space for everybody. Or some of my coworkers and people that I went to school with were, they have degrees in illustration or painting or whatever. And I think everybody with their different backgrounds brings something new to the discussion and brings something new to the industry and is coming from a different perspective. So if you really want to do it, if you really think tattooing is where you want to be, it's a great place to be. Like if you like people and you like art and blood doesn't scare you, it's a great spot. It's a really great way to have art not only make you a living, but to make something meaningful for people. So if you want to do it, like, don't let people tell you it's tacky and you're not going to make any money, because it's, you know,
just going to waste your time.
Yeah, don't let people tell you that, because it's going to be I mean, the industry is expanding, and like I was saying, there's room for everybody. I think there's room for all different kinds of tattooers. So yeah, if you think it's what you want to do, then try it. Go for it. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Thank you for coming into the studio today.
Yeah.
If you ever go on tour or do a tattoo convention, I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to talk about it more. Great. So thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.